Grand Risings, today is my favorite day of the week. It is Self-Care Saturday. And as you know, Self-Care Saturday is the day where we focus on self, right? Because a lot of times we neglect ourselves, but Saturday is our day to remind us that we are important. How many times have you lowered your values and your standards just to appease someone else and then only to be disappointed in that person? I'm here to tell you that you should not be disappointed in that person as much as you should be disappointed in yourself. Why? Because you chose to do those actions that created that outcome, right? Most relationships are where two people participate, right? Very seldom do you have a situation where people are in a relationship, but only one of the parties are acknowledging the relationship or being in a relationship. So when we get into relationships, the actions that we take are consensual. Being that there's consensual, that's where the self-accountability comes in. I remember when I was going through domestic violence situations, right? And in the counseling sessions, they would say things like, oh, he's such a bad guy and it's all him. I ended up counseling my counselor in that session and the ones after. But what I told my counselor was this: you have got to stop taking all the accountability from the victim. That's why they are a victim, because they don't know their role in what took place. When you look at life from a victim standpoint, there is no empowerment there. There is no way for you to break out of those chains of victimhood. So that is why it is very important for us not to think that way, right? Know and understand, there are women in the world that never experience abuse whatsoever. So to blame all of the abuse on the external party is not fair. I had to look within self and figure out, what is it within me that I don't value myself enough, that I allowed myself to be in a consensual relationship with someone that doesn't know my true value. It all comes back to self, right? Yesterday I was talking to someone and I was telling them about the importance of knowing your worth, right? And I gave an example of like being in a Dollar Tree and you are a Louis Vuitton bag sitting on a Dollar Tree shelf. Do you think that any consumer that comes in and sees the bag, they're going to want to pay more than $1 for that bag? Because the price tag clearly says $1. Do you think someone's going to take that to the register and say, you know what? This is a Louis bag. I see you're offering for $1, but let me give you 60 grand for it because, you know, you're undervaluing what this bag is. No one ever would do that, right? And so that's what you were doing when you were devaluing yourself, right? You were allowing people access to you that did not know your worth and value. So if somebody buys a Louis Vuitton bag at the Dollar Tree store, where do you think you're going to find it? On the floor, you know, behind the bed, other places that you, things that you do, the things that you do not value, that's where you find that bag. Now, if you get out of that Dollar Tree and get into the department store where you belong, you'll have a whole different consumer experience. Someone will come in, I'm like, oh, that's a Louis bag. I know the value in that. I saw it online and I saw the prices and I'm going to buy this bag for the price tag listed. Because when you go into a Louis Vuitton store, you don't haggle. There's like, I said what I said, this is my price. And so that taught me a very valuable lesson about valuing self and how I value me and how it is going to take me valuing me for others to value me. And that is how Self-Care Saturday was birthed and created. I had to take out time, and that time for self, my self time, Saturdays, I had to create that, right? Because I had made time for everybody else and everything else, but I had made no time for self. None. In your life, you have to make time for the things that you want to pursue. For example, right, if you're single and you want to be in a relationship, right? If you're single and you want to be in a relationship, start mapping out that time that you're going to share with that individual. Start doing it now before that person shows up. So when they show up, there is not going to be a disturbance in your pattern. You'll already have space set aside to accommodate them. And always make time for yourself, right? Even in a jam-packed day, you should have at least 1 hour of me time where you sit and you defuse and you work through whatever issues or feelings that you're currently feeling. And that's what you do in that day. Your time, a lot of times people get into codependent relationships. When you're in a codependent relationship, either one of the two parties are not comfortable with their me time. And those are usually people who suffer from separation anxiety and abandonment issues. And for those people, I implore you to go out and do things on your own. For me, what it took was, the first step was I took myself out to eat. That was unheard of me because I've always gone out to eat with others. But to go on your own, and the first day I did it, there was this lady she came up, it was an older lady, she came up to me and was like, oh, you're out eating by yourself? She was like, I do it all the time. She was like, and I enjoy it immensely. And she wasn't alone that time, but she was just talking about how she left time for herself. So it made me feel love subconscious, and I enjoyed my meal, I enjoyed my drink, and I went on to have a great day. That's what I want you to be able to do. It takes steps, to remove yourself from codependent relationships. When you're so comfortable with somebody being there for you, or you being there for someone else, that's how codependency creates. Interdependency is our goal, where I have what I want and you have what you want, and individually, and then we come together collectively. For example, I'm happy already and you're happy already, and we come together, we can increase our happiness, as opposed to I'm happy and I'm attracting someone that's unhappy, or I'm unhappy and I'm attracted to somebody unhappy. That's going to rub off on me, right? Frequency is everything. That's why we do Frequency Check Fridays. So once we've raised our frequency and we've done our self-care, we can start moving on to the other areas of life that are necessary. Now, if you need further help on your healing journey, head over to ShekinahWisdom.com, where you can book an appointment. If you want art therapy, head over to IAMTheletterU.collection.com. And if you simply want to support the work we do here, you can cash out Unearthing the Truth. All right, my lovelies, you have a wonderful, amazing Self-Care Saturday.